Hi, guys, and welcome back to this interweb space that I've created. I'm so grateful you're here. I hope everyone has had a wonderful holiday season, and I want to continue on with that holiday season and talk about New Year's for this week's episode since we will be transitioning into 2026 this week. I want to reflect on 2025 and the lessons and the growth and the shedding that has occurred this year, and our intentional energetic transition into 2026. So, starting off with 2025, I don't know about anybody else, but it has been very rough for me this whole year. Energetically, overall, it's been a big year of confrontation with other people, confrontation with myself, and just kind of recognizing things about myself, and a big year of clarity as well. Many of us have been asked this year to look at what really wasn't working internally and externally in our lives. It wasn't always a comfortable energy to be in, for sure. Let's be honest, most of the time it was really uncomfortable and usually revealing in some instances. It was there to show us kind of patterns, attachments, identities, and habits that are no longer aligned with who we are continuing to become. And you may have noticed kind of themes like sudden endings of things, whether it was jobs, relationships, situations, or redirections in those instances. A big emotional kind of deep processing time. This year was about a lot of that. And a strong pull towards things that are going to be the best thing for you. So this week, leading up to the new year, I want to try to take a moment to reflect on what really challenged you the most in 2025. Where did you grow? Even when it didn't quite feel like growth at the time. Most challenges don't. They're a struggle, but we come out stronger in the end. Sometimes the hardest years we have are the most transformational for us, honestly. 2025 has asked us to be honest with ourselves, even when being honest means that we have to let go of things that we don't necessarily want to or think we don't want to. Astrologically, 2025 carries a strong transitional energy, kind of like a bridge year, collectively shifting personal identities and the closing of kind of long-standing cycles and questioning kind of old structures and systems and even our beliefs. This year was about kind of preparation. It's like the energy was saying, you can't bring old versions of yourself into this new timeline, so we have to really work on all of these things this year to make you something kind of bigger and better. 2025 was the year of the snake in Chinese zodiac, specifically the wood snake, which tells us that this year was about shedding. It was a year of kind of growth and renewal. Numerologically, 2025 carries the vibration of the number 9, the number of completion, the number of release, and the number of closure. 9 years are all about letting go, forgiveness, ending kind of karmic patterns and cycles, and clearing out kind of emotional, I'll call it debris. Yeah. As we move into 2026, though, the astrological tone shifts towards more stability and intentional rebuilding of our lives. The energy asks us, where are we going to go from here? What are we going to do? Who do we want to be? The energy goes from 9 to a 1 in numerology, the number of new beginnings. 1 energy represents initiations into new things, fresh starts, leadership opportunities, and new ideas kind of all and around creativity. It could even be redesigning your house or redecorating or shifting stuff around. It could be all of those things. 2026 asks us for intentional beginnings. Not rushed ones, not just suddenly, well, I'm going to be this person. This is who I am. It's taking the time to really ask yourself, what do you want to start? What version of yourself is ready to kind of begin? Who do you want to be in this next cycle? Numerology is all all about cycles. 1 through 9 is the pattern here. And so we're starting a new 9-year cycle. So who do you want to be? That's kind of what this is asking you. As for a few other astrological events in 2026, the planet Neptune, the planet of spirituality and imagination, moves into the fiery and active oriented sign of Aries. It moved into Aries on March 30th, 2025, but then it went back into Pisces after a brief retrograde period. But finally, at the end of this coming January, it will be there for about the next 14 years or so. Neptune in Aries shows us a collective shift that started in 2025, but will really start to take off in this new year. To me, it'll be kind of a blast of spiritual awakening stories. This energy inspires people to look at themselves, see where they can kind of redefine their faith or where to really take an active role in it almost. It's almost like a call to action spiritually, which can be good and bad because on one hand, I feel like so many people will be able to kind of finally find themselves spiritually and where they kind of fit in their communities. But on the other hand, it can have a very strong hitting energy where we get caught up in, spiritual movements going on or the unrealistic visions of how this kind of new endeavor might be the thing that makes our life perfect. Things like that. If I start this group and I give it my all, my life is going to be exactly what I want it to. Saturn also enters Aries, and it will be there for the next 3 years. This is another big push of energy towards responsibilities and structuring our lives and the resetting of structured systems. I don't want to get political, but how much stuff is going on in the news and in the government and within kind of the big faith things and churches and all kinds of stuff. There's just so much stuff going on right now. And if you look to the astrology side of it, you can really see where these energetic influencers are coming from. Uranus also enters into a new sign of Gemini. It could be another evolution for technology, travel, communication, big new tech coming out, big new strides in how we interact and speak with each other, new social media platforms. That's just what we need. All the things like that, and travel, brand new kind of reinventions of travel, whether it's planes or going to the moon or cars, things like that. On a personal level, though, this placement encourages us to break away from things that limit us and to speak our personal truths about things. Uranus will be in Gemini for about the next 7 years or so, so we get a little bit of time to kind of figure that out. And Jupiter moves into Leo in June for about a year. Jupiter here in Leo means a lot of growth, a lot of luck, a lot of creativity. They're both really positive kind of signs. It's a very powerful placement that if you use it right, it could really benefit you greatly. It brings about kind of big-heartedness and generosity. But also, there's a duality to every single energetic thing out there. So the back end of this energy is the ego could like to show off through arrogance and our need as human beings for attention. Just be mindful of kind of these new placements of things as we kind of transition into this new year and how it can really potentially affect your life and how could you use this energy for your benefit. So with that being said, with all this kind of energy stuff going on, let's move into intentional creation for what we want in this new year. Actively manifesting the life that you want for 2026 and beyond that. I invite you to kind of reflect on these questions, and you can definitely journal about them later. I would strongly encourage you, if you are a journaler or a vlog person or whatever it is, how do you want to feel in 2026? What energy do you want to embody daily, every single day of your life? What do you want to be? What are you available for kind of outside of your just personal space? What are you available for other people? And what are you no longer tolerating in your life? So instead of getting rid of kind of rigid goals, I want you to try doing energetic intentions. Something like, I choose peace in my life. My life flows with ease. I act from truth. I want you to visualize yourself at the end of this coming year, the end of 2026. You have a whole year to get there, but who are you going to be at the end of that year? How do you want to feel? Are you grounded? Are you, aligned with your true purpose in life? Are you wanting to just almost think of it like a gap year and just kind of float and try out different things? That's perfectly fine. Are you clear from negativity? Are you still letting things kind of bring you down? Think about these things. Think about the choices that you can make throughout the entire coming year that will help you get to where you want to be at the end of 2026. Think of all those things so your choices can start now to becoming that. One of the things I really like to do at the end of a year is create a vision board for the next year. I just got my poster boards for the coming year. I get them for my family. I think I got like 8 of them. And you can make different ones for different parts of your life if you want, or you can just do one big one. You can write down what you want to see in your life for 2026. You can draw things. You can cut out magazines or pictures from the internet to put on there. It does not matter. It's just your intention into it. Vision boards work because they are a physical representation to help you visualize the things that you want to achieve and see in your life. They boost your focus and your motivation, acting as tangible reminders of your goals every time you see them. They help you kind of transform these thoughts, these feelings we have, these desires that you may have into concrete images or words that you see every single day, depending on where you've put your board. Hopefully it's somewhere you see it every day, which will help your subconscious prioritize them so you are actively thinking and working on them frequently. It's also a physical representation that you are showing the universe you are ready to accept these things into your life. Another thing I like to do on either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day is to do the 13 Magical Nights ritual that has become really popular in the past few years, but all at once. I love that ritual. I think it's so powerful, but 9 times out of 10, especially around, in December, I'm not able to burn my papers every night, or I've forgotten to do it, or I pull cards or forget to do that, or all sorts of things, especially now that my daughter is so young. I like to do those things in the evening and it's bedtime and all of the things crop up. So I like to do it all at once on either evening of New Year's Eve for the coming year or New Year's Day. To me, I've done it kind of both ways, and I like it both ways. I almost like it better on New Year's Day so I can see this is what I want for this year. But it does not matter either way. I've been doing it for several years now that way, and I've had really good results. So I like to sit down and turn it into a whole little ritual for myself. I light my candle, I light my incense, I have my holy water that I've created and made at the full moon, laid out, and I write down my 13 wishes, but I call them my 13 intentions. So in a couple days, I'm going to write out my 13 intentions for 2026. 13 things I actively want to see in my life. Write them as you see them in your life now. That's how I like to do it. Basic ones: I am healthy. I am full of creative ideas. Make them as specific as you want them. If you want some very specific things in your life, put them in there. I really need a new back deck on my house. That might be one of my intentions. Our house has a new beautiful back deck. Something like that. So write them all out. Write 2 copies so you can remember what your intentions were for the year, and fold them up. Mix them in a little pile, and then I want you to pull one and burn it, and put it into some kind of fire-safe container if you're able. I do mine outside. I have a beautiful prayer urn from the lovely Gemma that makes them on her pottery wheel. They are gorgeous, and that's what I use. I've always been told growing up to burn things is to release it into the universe, and the smoke will bring your prayers to heaven. I always love that. So burning the papers is just another physical act to tell the universe that these are things that we want in our lives. It also leaves it in Spirit's hands to help manifest it. So as the paper is burning, I want you to, if you are a person who pulls cards, tarot or oracle or something you've created, pull a card for the month of January. And then we're going to do that 11 more times. You're going to pull out one of your papers, one of your intentions. You're going to burn it. You're going to watch it burn for a second. And then you're going to pull another card and lay it out. I like to shuffle it in between. Sometimes I pull 2 different decks of cards. So I have just like a little more clarity on what's going on. And sometimes when you're shuffling those cards, a couple jump out at you, and that's okay. You can have more than one for a single month. That's fine. But at the end, you're going to look at each card as the month in the year and look into that energy for that particular month. At the end, you'll have one piece of paper left. That is your intention that you are in charge of making happen. You've burned all the other ones. You've sent them out into the universe. You've told Spirit, these are the things I want. And you are going to actively work on manifesting those things. But the one that you haven't burned, you're going to open it up and read it, and that is on you to actively work on making happen. I also like to pull a card for this intention to look at what may help me in my achieving this intention, right? So look at it for a little bit more clarity, what might help me, or you could do a 3 pull card on what might help, what might get in my way, things like that. This is really open to interpretation on doing whatever feels right for you. So you can create a whole ritual around it. That's what I like to do for my new year. I like to kind of lay all my cards out on the table, you might say, and just kind of look at what Spirit is telling me that might kind of crop up. I'm a big planner person, so I write those cards in my planner. So at the top of my planner, I'm a physical planner person as well. So by the month of January, I'm going to write what cards I pulled so I remember. I also have the numerology for the different months in there. So I have all kinds of stuff. But that is my way of keeping track of that. I'm also going to put my paper that I wrote my separate intentions on. I'm going to probably place that in the front of my planner. I'm going to tape it in there so I remember. Another way, I'm seeing it every day. I'm actively saying, hey, Spirit, I want these things in my life. I'm manifesting these things to happen. So after doing all of that, you want to walk into 2026 not having everything figured out. You don't have to have everything figured out, but I want you to walk into it willingly, moving forward consciously in your life. We are awake, we are conscious, we are actively taking steps to make our lives what we want it. I want you to step into it with a renewed sense of purpose, to stay present in each and every moment, and to actively work on who you want to be going forward, whether that's for the year, whether that's for the rest of your life, however you want to look at it. So thank 2025 for what it taught you, what it took away that no longer served its purpose in your life, and welcome 2026 with intention. It's the year of the Chinese zodiac. It's the year of the fire horse. And I love that because, horses are beautiful, majestic creatures that are actively like striving and running and just being brave and bold. And fire is fierce and strong acting. And there's going to be a lot of energy with 2026. A lot of action can happen in this year. So pick some good intentions on what you want to see. You have all of the energy kind of backing you. It's what you want to do with it that makes all the difference. So thank you so much for sharing this sacred time of transition with me into this new year. Happy new 2026. And until next time, trust in your spirit, trust in your guides, trust in yourself, honor your energy, and remember that you are the creator of what comes next in your life. I'll see you soon.